putting licks on the poor man's dollar. Not even a race to ease the pressure. I can't buy bread, but they driving Beamer. Their supporters come what they preach, empty promises that they breach. It's about winning political seats of the people blind and
WEFM, the clean, fresh sound.
WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
All righty, so time here in SVG, it is 7:46, and already we have Mr. Kingsley DeFreitas. Oh, all right. All right, so Kingsley, you could call back now. You hear? Sorry. All righty. So while we wait for Kingsley to call, I see that a parent is sending out greetings to his daughter, my former student. All right. So good morning. I just want to wish Inga Jackson a happy belated birthday. She celebrated her birthday on June 20th. That's a good while ago, right? About a month ago. So they want to wish her all the best and many more from her family. All right. So, So Kingsley's on the line. Kingsley, morning.
Morning, Miss Samuel. I noticed that you had a very interesting discussion there a while ago with Queens. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't listening. I was looking at you on Facebook, and I get the impression that some of what you heard is stranger to your mind. And I could remember one point that when Anna Yusuf was the leader of the NDP, they had Israel Bruce, and the other choice at the time was Brittany Hahn. But I did choose Brittany Hahn from a family standpoint, and I thought that what he brings to the candidacy would have helped the NDP better. So I did support Mr. Eustace's choice in suggesting that Brittany Hahn should have been the candidate. But what came out from that discussion that you had with Queens is how much people have an impact on who they want to be the elected parliamentarian and how important that is. We just noticed where the Europe, we had 3 people who were showing interest, Mr. Beasley, and we were told that Senator Morgan was put into the mix. But from listening to what I've been getting, it appears, wow, that Mr. Beasley decided to take a leave, and Senator Morgan was told, take a rest and want to be dealing with you that way, that is right. So I don't know if it's really a reflection of democracy, that what we see for persons who make themselves available for candidacy, if it's really transparency and if the leadership of the political parties normally have the final say. Because I can remember when Jomo Thomas came, I get the impression that the General Secretary of the European Senator Julian Francis was not in sync with Jomo. But while Jomo came up the same line and come from the same cloth, so I did support Jomo. I wanted that support was genuine because I didn't think anybody thought that Jomo would have won that seat against Lisa Stevenson. I believe that when the President Attorney General run, I think he's going to come in second to Lisa Stevens. So it's an important discussion that Queens was having with you, and I often wonder, is the attention paying attention to the local politics and the quality, lack of there of is what going to take place, because there's no doubt about in the mind that Grant Williams has an intelligent fellow. And the only disappointment I have with nature, 25 years in opposition, and it's still the same force that when you went into politics, we have so much young people who are doing things online, and I thought that he should have used the opportunity to do something else to make himself more competitive, because what is taking place in Southfield is that people are still voting for the NDP / Jerry Scott, and they think that the NDP has a base. So I agree with Queen that we have to pay attention to the candidacy process, who are making themselves, because after this general election, one party is going to PDP scheme and one is going to try to build on what they have. And I'm hoping that St. Vincent again will benefit in the future, depending on who which party will win the next election. And that's my thought for today. And you have a wonderful day, this Samuel.
All right, you as well, Kingsley. Thank you. All right. So Kingsley further commented on the point of are people paying attention to local politics? All right. But before I give my thoughts with regards to what Kingsley's commentary was, I just want to say officially good morning to you, Dianna.
Good morning, Roleza. Good morning, everyone. I hope that you are all doing really well this morning.
All right. All righty. So any thoughts with regards to what Kingsley said?
Not really. I'll get back to you.
All right. All right. So me just say good morning to El Katha and Joycelyn, and good morning to Darren. Darren, I didn't see a message until afterwards. All right. So yes. Now, with regards to what Kingsley said, do people pay attention to the local politics? And this is why, based on the conversation that I had with Queens, when I deliberately said voting for the best representative, or voting for best representative. I think I said it in those words. Hopefully I said it in those words, right? But that's what I meant if I didn't say it in those words. This is always what is my concern, right? When persons are voting, when we are voting, are we voting for the best representative, or are we just voting based on party? Those persons who may have had thoughts that Mr. Daisy is the better representative, would, because the fact that he is not the declared rep for the constituency, are you still going to vote for, would you lend your support to Mr. John? Or would you not vote for the party because you didn't get the representative that you wanted, right? So I've always been curious in terms of how people actually vote. And I suppose it's really a rhetorical question, because I do believe that many persons more vote based on party as opposed to best representative, which to me is kind of unfortunate, right? But
to that part, I don't even think some persons know why they follow the party. They follow or have a valid reason for following the party. Mm-hmm. I think for some persons, it was just a case of you're born into this family where they were ULP supporters or they were NDP supporters. So you automatically became that. And as you grow, you just grew with it. And you never really sought to sit and think about, why am I really following this party? Why do I choose this party? Do I really like what they stand for? Do their goals and so on align with mine? Or it was just what my mommy voted for, my daddy voted for, and born as a child, this is the party, and I just continuing it as an adult, so.
And this is one of the things that I really wish for us, particularly as younger people, even younger than me, right? That when you are voting, you have to vote based on what is put forward by these parties, all right? Don't just go along because my parents have always voted for red, I am voting for red. Or, as Kingsley mentioned something there about nature, that nature seems to be re-elected based on the legacy of Jerry Scott, right? And it's a deep pause, but the deep pause doesn't mean anything. The deep pause is, what I would like to say within that deep pause is that you have to vote based on the best representative. I really and truly would have preferred that if we had a system where we vote for the best representative and collectively they come together to run as a government, right? We would have like these national pillars or these national things that we want to have done. Mm-hmm. And so as a people, we would decide those things, but we vote for the best rep so that they could execute whatever it is. And you have a term limit, right? So that you know that you are going in for 5 at a maximum 10 years. Within these 5 to 10 years, you have to get the work done. And then you bust it, you say goodbye, you say sayonara. I now pass on the baton to someone else. Doc, don't even. Don't even give me that face. Don't even. All right. Hold on. I even have your mic open.
Yeah, we could have had it. We voted it down.
Oh gosh, you're gonna referendum closing your mic.
No, but you close your mic. Because if you want to talk,
go ahead. No, you see,
that's the whole thing.
You know me. I'm with this referendum talk, and I am tired of it.
I'm a young person with views and so forth, and sometimes people don't want to hear my views because they dismiss my views.
Are you going back to the referendum?
Yes, sir. No,
are you going back to the point that we did vote referendum? Lovely.
We could have had it. I'm a person who might be in favor of something like that because that was part of the proposal. But part of the proposal because we had many other things. If you have referendums on one thing.
So we back to the referendum.
So but no, we're not. We're not back to the referendum. I say we won't go back to a referendum because you basically, in referendums, you can't deal with omnibus 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 things. If one thing you don't like, 9 things you like, you can't vote for it.
I'll be tired of this referendum talk.
But I'm not talking about referendum. What I'm getting at is that for that issue of terms, I've grown also to realize that it may be counterproductive. Who comes in? Do we always think that they are going to continue? Or will they say, like you happen in the United States, I'm going to cut healthcare, I'm going to cut USA, I'm going to cut this, I'm cut that, cut the other. Totally change things up. Then someone else comes in after another 10 years.
So the only way that this in particular could be achieved is through a referendum?
No.
Can't the parties set it? Can't the government set it? Can't it be introduced as a law?
Individual persons are not just putting forward what they like and what the people like, they're also putting a third element, what the party platform is. So that you may disagree with certain things on the platform, but you have to go along with it. You ain't gonna resign because 9 of the things you like and 1 of the things you do not like.
Doc, in this particular matter, is it the only way that we can do this is through the referendum?
No, it isn't.
All right, so then why don't we take the other measures, the other steps?
The other measures is what we're doing now. The other measures would be what is the party's platform. So if the party's platform is we're going to move from Taiwan to mainland China, but your views is, nah, I don't believe that is right. If you think the party's platform, we're going for CBI or we're not going for CBI, but you believe in not all going for CBI, how do you fit into that program? How do you fit in as the individual? And how do you assess what your constituents are asking for? There is that third overriding element under the British system as opposed to a presidential system. When the presidential system, it ain't you. It's one individual. You understand? One individual. And you go along with that one who's as president. But in the party system, you may have individual views, and your individual views is you're gonna put a playing field in every village, a hard court lighted in every village. You're gonna basically build this in every village or your constituency, but you don't realize the money isn't there to do that. And maybe you will get 1 for your constituency, and the other 14 will get 1 too, and you will feel, nah, I should have more. So it's a complex issue that you're missing, I feel, Roleza. You know, when you formulated that. Anyway, we have some people waiting outside, right? And I don't want this to interrupt that. You may think I'm running, but I think there's some important things, you know, in life. And
yeah, this is important. Persons knowing that if you come in for 5 to 10 years, you get what you need to get done within that 5 to 10 years.
But it doesn't happen like that. There are things.
Why doesn't it happen like that? Because we don't have anything in place to say that.
There are things you get done in 2 years, and the things you get done in 20 years. I'm telling you. As a medical doctor, let me tell you something. I can tell you, people get sick quickly. In 1 year, other people get sick over a longer period of time for various reasons. Well, and I'm putting it to you that if you have an agenda, the money is there, and the opportunity is there in every single aspect. This is your agenda for 10 years, and you achieve 10 years, and then you move out. and then the government changes, or the government changes and said, you know, those 10 years.
But didn't we some years ago have I forget what it's called. It was a national plan for development, and I think if I'm not mistaken, it was agreed on by both parties, both the ULP and the NDP. Some development plan or the other. Wasn't there something like that?
No, there isn't quite, but we always have a national development, 10-year plan and so forth like that. We always have that. But those 10-year plans do not pinpoint every single thing. A party may have a manifesto. They talk broadly about your policies and development. They may cite a Rabaka Bridge, an airport, and a port and so forth. They will do that, but they ain't gonna say Clare Valley Hard Court. They're going to say a road into Maho and so forth. They're not necessarily going to pin down those particular details. You know what I mean? Those things will come on a budgetary basis based on. And when you put the budget, there are people, many times I come here and people say, the budget is too large. You know, we're going into debt. Let's stop spending. About next week, I'm going to talk about that. You understand? I'm going to talk about that in my commentary.
About budgeting and money and so?
About budgeting and money and related to this. How do you can promise your heart out?
It's not like we don't need to have term limits because, you know,
you can promise your heart.
You could be there for
we can,
30, 40 years.
We can simplify.
You don't see the urgency to get anything done. But anyhow.
No, listen. The urgency to get anything done. Man, let me tell you something. Port ain't done. But no, port the holes in it. You understand? You know what I mean? We haven't done anything in this country. Nothing at all.
Doc, how you just go off on tangent? So which part of me would ever say that? Which part of me would ever say that?
You play back the tape 40 seconds ago in terms of what you just said.
I said term limits. I'm talking about term limits. What part of me would say that nothing has been done in the country?
Listen. You listen to what you just said.
You give me headache too early in the morning.
Anyway, let's move on.
Doc, you give me headache early this morning.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
Woosah, folks. Woosah.
Term limits. If you can't vote them out, get them out by some other means. God. You know? What about the can't vote them out? That's imposed.
Well, the term limit applies to everybody, you know. It doesn't matter which party.
The term limit.
Or it would apply to everybody.
The term limit, maybe that I'm saying, for individuals who can't get in, they may see that.
And for individuals who have gotten in, want to stay forever.
But the point about it, I'm talking about the people who want to get in, but don't necessarily, they want to be appointed. You got to be elected.
Doc, it's all in the morning for me and you to start with this. All right.
But listen, there's no guarantee somebody's going to be elected. They could be a crook. They could be lazy.
If they're lazy, they get out within the next 5 years. They voted out on account of that.
Listen, that's too long for people who are lazy, good for nothing, and so forth. They essentially has to come with a platform of not a whole set of promises, but realistic things that need to be done. You know, that's why.
Which is why we have term limits. All right.
A comment. So just to read a comment here, somebody said, people in SVG do not look at who is the best rep. When you drill into it, people vote for the person they want to lead the country. That's what somebody says about.
It's true.
About the voting.
It's true.
You know what? Let me stop.
Why do you dispense with voting and say who's the next set coming up? Right? The next set come up. We're gonna appoint you. Based not on elections, but based on who, because all the others are disqualified.
So somebody says, well, Roleza, you surprised me. Please make some sense. You are saying that they are supposed to make good on every promise they make. Now, I do recognize that it is not going to be possible in all circumstances, especially if something is listed in a manifesto, that everything is going to be completed. There are going to be factors such as environmental issues, global economic issues that might cause something. Doc, no, let me finish. That might cause whatever it is that might be outlined in the manifesto to not be completed. However, I do believe that there are instances where somebody has been elected because of the fact that they do not have a term limit, that they take their time to do things, right? No. Doc, let me finish, right? They take their time.
All right, you got to be careful that it's going to come across as you are tackling the Prime Minister.
Why should we be seen as me tackling the Prime Minister? The Prime Minister is not the only. The Prime Minister is not the only elected person who has been nominated or who has been elected for the seat.
But listen,
who for me should have had a term limit.
But let me give you an example. Almost every single person I went into government with, right, besides Montgomery Daniel and the Prime Minister, have gone. They've gone. The 2 terms, maybe more, and they went. Yes, Sam? That has been the case. There's
Doc,
been a whole
what it is that I was actually saying, I could relate. Hold on, because you're trying to put words in my mouth, and I don't appreciate that.
At the same time, I was going to go back and say, in terms of the opposition, there have been people who've been there.
Correct. That's exactly what it is I'm saying.
They were never in government. And our system, unlike the presidential system, where the president would appoint you, and what I'm saying to you is that, so they do their 2 terms in opposition, and they then have to leave. What that is doing is that when they leave, they may have been a good candidate for that party. If they have to leave, then that means that the chances that the existing government would be able to take over. I'm saying to you that under the ULP, there has been significant changes after 2 terms. Yes, and those things have taken place, except probably for the Prime Minister.
Well, I don't think that we're doubting any of that. But what is being said is that something should be put in place so that persons could have a term limit. Simple.
It's simple.
All right, let's turn on because apparently, what it is that I'm saying is not getting through to Doc. Doc is not understanding, so I'm not going to continue with that.
Other individuals
he just came back and said that you're making sense because I was allowed to explain my point properly.
You're allowed to explain your point. I came in, make your point. Anyway, let's move on. I agree with you. Let's stop this, man. I'll come back at this. We'll come back another time. You know, I'll deal with this.
Have a brace up for Doc till elections. Call it. Have a brace up for Doc.
You brace up for that?
Yes.
Listen, by elections, I'm pulling you. Roleza.
Doc, I can't go through this one. It's too early and it's Monday. Oh,
Monday. That's where it is. Monday. If it was a Friday, we forget about it over the weekend. Go party and all that kind of thing. Monday, for tomorrow, next day, we deal with it. Let's go.
Oh, Lord. That's really wild me up on a Monday morning.
This morning.
And with that, folks, we've all calmed down. I have calmed myself now. The time here in SPG, it is 8:07, quickly approaching 8:08. And our time check came through the compliments of New Haven Funeral Home.